Hey everybody, this is your GM, your back row Dominus, your GM who currently is not on the team right now, but don't you worry about it. KO here to bring you episode 9 of the Stack and Shed series. Now in this series, we're covering all 32 teams, so everybody gets a chance to be talked about, alright? Now in this series, we're covering a few different topics, and they include what went wrong, what do they need, stack or shed, their draft picks, one move I would do, and their cap space. Now, in this episode, we're talking about the Cowboys, all right? So all my Cowboys fans, wipe those tears from your eyes. Everything's going to be all right. And just know you guys are not going to the Super Bowl anytime soon. But how about them Cowboys? All right, let's get into it. So what went wrong in the Cowboys season? And I will venture to say it was a lack of defensive production. In the past few years, the defense has become an eyesore that Jerry Jones can no longer ignore. Although the Cowboys acquired Kenny Clark and Quentin Williams via trade, I was never under the impression that this team was going to go anywhere because the secondary was still a major problem. And here you have a defense that wasn't able to create turnovers, stop explosive plays, create pressure on the quarterback, or stop the run. According to NFL Pro, the Cowboys defense last year ranked 30th in the league, and they allowed 30.1 points per game, 377 yards per game, 6.1 yards per play, and 59 touchdowns. They were dead last in pass defense, and they allowed 251.5 passing yards per game, 7.2 passing yards per play, and 35 passing touchdowns. They were 23rd in run defense, and they allowed 125.5 rushing yards per game, 4.7 rushing yards per play, and 24 rushing touchdowns. Now, we can blame the players on missed assignments, missed tackles, missed interceptions, bad block shedding, all those different areas. You know that Matt Eberflus isn't a good coach. So why would you go out your way to hire him when you know that in recent years he hasn't done a good job? According to Sumer Sports, in Matt Eberflus's first year as the head coach for the Chicago Bears, they were 29th in total defense and they allowed 375.9 yards per game. They were 32nd in scoring defense and they allowed 27.2 points per game. His second year with the Bears, they were 20th in total defense and they allowed 350.4 yards per game. They were 20th in scoring defense and they allowed 23.9 points per game. His third year with the Bears, they were 13th in total defense and they allowed 330.5 yards per game. And they were 13th in scoring defense and they allowed 21.8 points per game. Now, of course, when we look at his tenure with the Cowboys, they were 30th in total defense and they allowed 377 yards per game. And they were dead last in scoring defense and they allowed 30.1 points per game. Now, does that sound like a successful defensive mind? No. Now, Jerry Jones deserves a majority of the blame because you give the thumbs up or thumbs down to any person that's on this team. And how is it that you can go this long without properly investing into this defense? You have opportunities just as everybody else does to fix your problems on your team, but you choose not to. You choose to neglect it and say, we have this high-powered offense. That's all we need to win games. That's what's going to get us to the Super Bowl. And that's not going to work, because defense still wins championships. Now, with that being said, what do the Cowboys need? And that is better defensive players and scheme. Now, they've already accomplished one of their needs in hiring Christian Parker as their new defensive coordinator, which I think that could be a really good hire, but only time will tell. The other part is going to require a huge investment to this defense in both free agency and in the draft. Now, with that being said, the question we all need to ask ourselves is stack or shed? And I would venture to say stack. And the reason why I say that is because the offense is in a really good space. All you need is just this defense to hold up their end of the bargain. When we look at their draft picks, they have 2 first-round picks, a 4th, 3 fifth-round picks, and 2 seventh-round picks, which isn't bad. But the question is this. Is Jerry Jones going to use one or both of those first-round picks to acquire a high-end defensive talent? And if so, who's it going to be? Because the first person that comes to mind is Max Crosby. Now, the one move that I would do is double dip at defensive back. And that's solely because this secondary has been lacking talent for a very long time. Having the 12th and 20th pick in the first round is a really good spot to be in because you're not too high, you're not too low. But the question is this. Are you going to attack corner or safety first? If you can get someone like an Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, if you get someone like an Adam Thielman, I think that's a really good selection. Now, corner is tricky because there's a limited amount of prospects with true first round grades. The only people that come to mind is Avion Terrell, Mansour Delane, Colton Hood, and Gerard McCoy. Now, the best place to get a corner is in the second round. As I've said before in previous episodes in this series, I believe that the second and third round is the sweet spot in this draft. If you can pluck Chris Johnson in the second round, I think that's a great pick because I think he has all the intangibles to be a true dominant outside corner. When we look at the Cowboys cap situation, they have negative $31.1 million, which we all know that's going to change because Jerry just announced a couple of days ago that they're going to restructure Dak, CeeDee Lamb's, and one of their offensive linemen's contract to create $66 million in cap space. I expect for them to do something with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark's contract, which is interesting because according to Spotrac, Kenny Clark has an $11 million roster bonus that kicks in on the third day of the new league year, but he carries a $21.5 million cap hit this year. However, when we look at Quinnen Williams' contract, he has a $20.7 million base salary this year and is carrying a $21.6 million cap hit. Now, I would give a longer-term extension to Quinnen Williams and a short-term extension to Kenny Clark. So that way you can bring down their cap hits while at the same time keeping them on the team for the foreseeable future. Now, my impression is that the Cowboys won't be as active in that first wave of free agency because they're going to try to hash out a deal with George Pickens, but I do expect for the Cowboys to pick things up in that second and third wave of free agency. Now, could Jerry surprise us? Sure. But I don't think the Cowboys are going to go after Trey Hendrickson or Boye Mafe or Tyreek Woolen or Kobe Bryant or Khalil Mack or, I don't know, Adafia Way or Devin Lloyd, just to name a few. I think at best they're probably going to get some people that are probably familiar with the Cowboys or familiar with the coaching staff, and they're just going to say, oh, these are the big splashy moves that we made. But only time will tell. But I'm going to end this episode here. If you guys like what you were listening, please make sure you guys leave a 5-star review on anywhere and everywhere that you can listen to podcasts, okay? We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a few other places. Now, if you want to access those places, go on Google, type in rss.com, Football Junkies Podcast. It should be the first link. When you click on that link, it'll take you to our rss.com page where you can listen to this podcast on your online browser. There should be a box that says listen to. When you click on that, it'll give you a plethora of different places that you can listen to this podcast, all right? Now, for my YouTube people, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, turn that notification bell on, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this episode as well as other content that I've put out recently. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let's talk about it, all right? You can follow us on YouTube at Football Junkies Pod. Football Junkies Pod. And we have a link tree in our bio. When you click on that link tree, it'll take you to anywhere and everywhere that we have Football Junkies content, all right? You can follow us on Instagram at Football_Junkies Pod. Football_Junkies Pod. Junkies Pod is not what? It is together, not spaced, okay? It is together, not spaced. Football_Junkies Pod. You can follow me on Blue Sky at GMKale. GMKAILE. GMKAILE. You can follow me on Twitter at GMKale. GMKAILE. You can follow me on TikTok at Football Junkies Pod. All right? Football Junkies Pod. Remember, when I make the post on our TikTok page, I cannot put the link to the new episode in the post because it's not going to hyperlink. So make sure you guys follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and all the other places that we post our content, all right? As always, I hope I gave you guys the fix that you guys need. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening to the best football podcast that you can listen to on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. And as always, this is your GM Kale signing out. Peace and love. Later, guys.